Good morning, students. I am still your chemistry teacher for the SS3 class. So today we are going to be doing some revisions from the past questions of WAEC. So today we took question from 2013 question number 1, WAEC. So look at the question, just copy the question on the board. So we'll be answering from question number 1. Let's see where we'll stop before the time will choke us. So question number 1 say, what is the common name? What is the common name given to the group 7 elements? The I part of it say, name the hydrides of the first 2 elements in group 7. Number 3, I. State 3 chemical properties of group 7 elements. Then B part of the question, copy and complete the following tables. Then particles, number of neutrons, number of electrons, number of protons, and mass number. These are the spaces provided. So it continues from C and D. We're going to be seeing them. So let's take the question from number 1. The number 1 question says, what is the common name given to group 7 elements? Their common name is, they are called halogens. They are called halogens or salt formers. They are called halogens. They are called halogens. That is the general name given to that group 7. Then, also name the hydrides of the first 2 elements in group 7. The first 2 elements in group 7 are fluorine and chlorine. So they are hydrides. We can have hydrogen fluoride. Hydrogen fluoride. And for the chloride is hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride. Then the next question is, give 3 chemical properties of group 7 elements. Number 1 chemical property is that they react with alkalis to form salts. They react with alkalis to form salt. They also react with acid. They react with hydrogen to form an acid. They react with alkalis to form salt. They react with hydrogen to form acids. Also, another chemical property of the group 3, they form salts with metals. They form salts with metals. When they combine directly with salt, they form metals. And another chemical property is that they are highly electronegative. They are highly electronegative. I'm giving you 4 properties, 4 chemical properties, so you choose any 3. The properties of group 7 elements. Then, let's go to the copy and complete table. If you look at it, they want to test our knowledge on mass number, number of protons, number of electrons, and the number of neutrons. So for us to do that, this one, number of neutrons here, they say 12 here, while the mass number is 24. Then, what will be the number of electrons and the number of protons in this one? First of all, for you to know the number of electrons, you first find the number of protons. The number of protons will tell us what the number of electrons will look like. Since they say this is W2 plus, it means that it has given out 2 electrons. So if that is the case, number of protons here will be number of neutrons, mass number minus number of neutrons will be, this one will be 12. Then, since it has given out 2 electrons, the number of electrons here will be 10. That is the essence of this 2 plus particle. Then the second part of it, they didn't give us anything. They say what will be the number of electrons, what will be the number of protons. And they say x2 minus, that means the person can give out 2 electrons. So they give us the mass number to be 8. That is an even mass number. So if the mass number is even, it means that the number of neutrons will be half of the mass number, that is 8. If that is the case, if 8 is the number of neutrons, therefore number of protons will also be 8. Then since it has x2 minus, that means it will receive 2 electrons. x2 minus, it will receive 2 electrons. Number of electrons will be 10. I don't know if you are getting what we are saying. For the sake of clarity, when you subtract mass number, when you have an even mass number divided by 2, it will give you the number of neutrons. And if you subtract number of neutrons from the mass number, it will give you the number of protons. Then, since the particle here indicated shows that plus means that it has given out 2 electrons, that is why the number of electrons reduced to the 10 here. But if there is no 2 plus here, just W, that means the number of electrons must be equal to the number of protons. Then, we come to this. If the number of mass number is 16, that is even number, it means that the even number divided by 2 will give us the number of neutrons. And the mass number minus the number of neutrons gives us the number of protons. And since it has accepted 2 electrons, therefore the number of electrons will be 10. That's why the 10. Then the next one, they said X, they say Y. Y. What will be the number of neutrons here? What will be the number of neutrons here? The number of neutrons here will be, what are we? 17 minus the number of neutrons will give us the number of protons. So let us subtract it and see what we have. In that case, what do we get? We have, that's not 17, that is 27. Sorry. This is 27. 27. So 27 minus the number of neutrons will give us 27 minus 13 will give us 14. Therefore, what will be here will be 14. What will be here will be 14. 14. That is mass number. This is 14. Mass number minus neutron number will give us the number of protons. I'm not sure. Okay. The Z part of it, they said Z alone. What will be the mass number? This is an even number of neutrons times 2 is supposed to be 24, but you subtract 1 since it's neutral, that is 23. Then 23 minus 11 will give us the other number. The number of protons here will be 11. So that I have 23 minus 11 will give us 22. They are talking about a sodium that is sodium. This is sodium. 23 minus 11 gives us 11. 22. That's 23 mass number. Number of protons 11. Number of electrons will be equal. Then the another question, the C part of it say, define each of the following: nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, and nuclear fusion. So what are they? Two of them, they are not the same thing. When we say fission, it's different from when we say fusion. nuclear fission, and then nuclear fusion, F-U-S-S. So what do they imply? Nuclear fission is the splitting of a heavy nuclei into smaller pieces with the release of energy and radiation. The splitting of heavy nucleus, this one is splitting of heavy nucleus into smaller pieces with the release of energy and radiation. While nuclear fusion is the combination of smaller nuclei into a larger nuclei with the release of energy and radiation. So fusion to fuse, fission is to split. So fission, splitting of larger nuclei, while fusion means bringing smaller nuclei to form a larger nuclei by the release of energy and radiation. So whenever nuclear fusion or nuclear fission takes place, there must be release of energy and radiation. Now, let us take other question, part D, question number D of this same here. That's number 1. Question number 1D. Let's see what they say. Okay. Let's take question number 1D. I will copy the question. 1D. So having seen this question, question number 3, question number C of that number 1 still says, give one use of each process mentioned. Give one use of either of nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. So the use is that it is used in the generation of electricity, it is used in the manufacture of atomic bomb, it is used in production of new elements, it is used in generation of energy. You can use the energy. So these are the uses of any of them. Any of them can be used to generate electricity. Any of them can be used to produce new elements. Any of them can be used to produce atomic bomb. So that's the use of each one of them. So you can write 1 each. So the next question, the D part of it, list 3 types of radiations that are produced during radioactivity. List 3 types of radiations that are produced during radioactivity. The radiations that are produced during radioactivity include alpha particles, II, gamma rays, III, beta rays. There are other this thing that were produced. Alpha is denoted with alpha like this. Then gamma is denoted with gamma like this, while beta is denoted by elongated B like this. Now the question is, arrange the radiation listed above in order of their increasing I penetrating power, II ionizing power. In order of their increasing penetrating power, the one with the highest penetrating increasing means that it will go from the left to right, increases like this. So the one with the highest penetrating power will be to the extreme, while the one with the lowest penetrating power will be to the left. So the one with the highest penetrating power is the gamma rays. The gamma is the highest penetrating power, followed by beta, followed by alpha. So in order of their increasing penetrating power, alpha has the lowest penetrating power, followed by beta, followed by alpha, and followed by gamma. Gamma rays has the highest penetrating power. Now, their ionizing power. Ionizing power is quite different from their penetrating power. If you this is penetrating power. Now, ionizing power. in order of their increasing ionizing power. When it comes to ionization, the highest with the one with the highest ionizing power is alpha particle. So the reverse is the case this time around. So the alpha particle has the highest ionizing power, followed by beta, followed by gamma. So the one with the least ionizing power is the gamma particle, followed by beta, followed by alpha. So these are the answers to the questions. So you can still ask me questions in any of these through a private chat on the WhatsApp, and I'll go on to give you more explanations in places you don't understand. So we're going to continue with the second question or other question. It may not be that year. Go to past questions and look at the question, latest question you see there. See if you can answer some of them. Where you find difficult, you refer to your textbooks or you have a private chat for more explanation. Thank you for listening.